Good afternoon, everybody. Hi. Welcome to the September Residents Council meeting. For some reason, I keep thinking it's October. I'm not rushing things, but, who knows? Okay, so topic today is dining services. Now, because news travels with the speed of light at Horizon House, I know that most of you have heard that the council and the dining staff and Doris Ray were having a meeting together yesterday to discuss the problems that we feel we have with dining services and the dissatisfaction. It's a very important part of our lives because many of us don't want to cook anymore or can't cook anymore, and we rely on the food here. And we've been hearing lots and lots of complaints recently. So my goal for the meeting was to understand operations better and to develop a path forward between dining services and administration and the residents to solve the problems we've been experiencing. Although we spend a good deal of time meeting and talking about individual preferences in food at the meeting, a problem that chefs can't fix, we did accomplish a few important things. We clarified Morrison's role at Horizon House. There have been all kinds of misinformation on what Morrison actually does. What we learned is that Morrison is a contractor that provides a very, very useful service as an administrator of our dining services staff, and as Steve said, as a toolbox. They're experts in the restaurant management and provide many resources to our staff. They hire the dining service employees and they have the expertise to do that, which we don't have. They provide structure and opportunity for them and provide us with substitutes when necessary. If you recall last year when Jeff's son was born, he took maternity leave and we had a substitute that Morrison had provided for us to take Jeff's place. They can help with modern technology such as the robots. They provide a library of recipes for Steve to use if he wants. We're not required to use their recipes. And what they don't do is provide our food, our menu plans, or our budget. Steve does that along with administration. He sources the food from local sources, suppliers, Charlie's Produce, for example, local meat purveyors and such. And dining services has a budget which they get from administration. Another question was the kitchen. Is the kitchen adequate? And they have had the kitchen assessed by experts, and it's been deemed as adequate for the task at hand now. When the bistro is enlarged, there'll be another kitchen in the bistro, and the West Tower will have a kitchen on the top floor. But as you can imagine, with 400 plus people living here, it's very difficult to please all of the people all of the time, or even some of the people some of the time. We all have different tastes and preferences in food, so we are bound to encounter dishes we don't like occasionally, and then there will be dishes that nobody likes. Steve assesses what dishes don't sell well. They keep track of what they sell, and when they don't, he adjusts the menu for that. That's the best way for them to please as many people as they can. However, and most importantly, the chefs don't know what problems we encounter unless we tell them. They told us they get very few complaints. They have the complaint cards on the host desk for you to make comments if you have a problem. They almost get none. Nobody contacts them with complaints except me. And they want us to do that. They want us to send food back. They want us to tell the server if it's not right. They want it to be fixed. They want it to be right. They just don't know what we're dealing with because we're too polite. We don't want to offend anybody. The other problem I found is that the wait staff a lot of them haven't been wearing name tags, and you hesitate to yell out, "Hey, you." So they're addressing that. And, and if you see somebody without a name tag, mention it to one of the supervisors. So now it's up to all of us. If the meal is problematic in any way, send it back. If the food is not hot, which is one of my pet peeves because it usually isn't, ask the server to have it reheated. Fill out the complaint card located on the host desk, or contact Doris Ray or Steve by email and let them know what the problem was. They cannot fix what they don't know. Remember that. No complaints unless you tell them about it. Then you can complain. And if your friends complain about something at dinner, encourage them to make a complaint and to tell somebody. We don't need to suffer in silence. Remember the cliche, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So let's do our job. The final issue involving dining services is the dishwasher. There's a rumor going around that it's not going to be fixed, and we're going to have paper plates forever. Well, I don't know where that started, but that's not true. I got a confirmation from Steve, so it's from the horse's mouth. They ordered the parts immediately when it broke down, and they're expecting them hopefully Friday, and if they're not here, he will put something on the dining menu for this next week, so we'll know that we still don't have a dishwasher, but they're working as fast as they can on getting it fixed. Next topic. A few weeks ago, Ned held a very successful committee leaders meeting with the council to discuss a way to handle sign-ups and recruitments going forward. One main takeaway I'll tell you is that residents can, and this has always been the case, but people haven't tended to do it, residents can sign up anytime by contacting the committee leader, and there will no longer be annual sign-ups. You will remain on the committee until you withdraw. Please withdraw if you don't want to serve anymore. Ned is going to go over all of this in depth next time when he talks about the program book, so you'll have much more detail. I just found out from Jeff that the Halloween party needs help because Brian, who was going to do it, it has jury duty then, and something with Deborah, which I didn't hear because I was trying to get ready for this, so I'm not sure, but what was the problem with Deborah? Right. Oh, for 3 more weeks then. So she won't be here. So if you want a Halloween party, somebody's going to have to do it. And if somebody wants to do it, more than one person, obviously, please contact Jeff. If we can't get anybody to do it, there won't be a Halloween party. So that's all I can say. And finally, COVID is back, as we know. So please wear a mask, especially if you were told, like me, that you have been exposed. And onward and upward. Now it's time for Erica.
Thank you, Deanna. Good afternoon to everyone. Well, I checked the calendar today, and there are 2 birthdays. Is Mary Craft here today? Is Mary Craft? Well, if you see Mary Craft, please wish her a happy birthday. And Beth Barrett's birthday is today. So let's all wish Beth a happy birthday. Wonderful. So I have, a couple of updates. I'll start with the bright spots. And I want to talk a little bit. It seems like so long ago. But we did have a staff picnic in August. It was phenomenal. We had a camp theme. It was such a fun day. You might have seen everyone out terrace outside. And the one thing I love about our staff events is that we make sure that every shift has an opportunity to celebrate. So we celebrated first shift, second shift, and even after midnight. And it was with the same level of energy, which I really loved. Brian Holtz, he grilled hamburgers and hot dogs all day and all night so people could have fresh food. So it was great. And these type of events, I always laugh. Horizon House is kind of like the workplace of the past, where we care about people. We care if they have fun at work. It's not just this place where people come to, be productive and go home. People here have relationships, and all these things benefit our resident community because we have that great retention and we have people who are happy with their work. We also had our wonderful resident picnic, which was so much fun. How many, by a show of hands, got a chance to get on the Love Boat? All right. Well, I will tell you, if you didn't get a chance to, I highly urge you. I know that, there's a limited number of tickets, but it was so well coordinated. The theme was just phenomenal. And, we just want to thank, we had a new resident who actually planned this, hosted this particular event. So we've been talking about how do we get people engaged? How do we get new blood in the organization? And it is great to have people who've lived here less than a year to get engaged and lead such a big effort as our resident picnic. Want to give you an update. We are committed to making sure that you get consistent updates about the West Tower. And, just to let you know, one thing that I'm excited to know, we only have 12 more residents from the West Wing that have to identify an apartment. So we are ahead of schedule. And, while we know it's, we still have, just under a year for people to identify, it made us feel so, good that we are making good progress. It is our intention for every person in the West Wing to be relocated on the campus in a new unit that they love. So that's going well. As you might remember, we started our reservation deposit phase where people put 10% of the entrance fee down. We started that in April, and I'm excited to say that we are 40% to our goal that we have to reach, meaning 70% of our units are sold. We are 40% there. So, and we need 70%, which is 142 units. So we have 62 reservation deposits as of today. 62. But, I will tell you, we are still, the referrals are so important to us. And so if you have anybody, any friend, you don't have to do the heavy lifting. You don't have to twist their arm. Invite them for a lunch or a dinner, but share their information with the sales team. And the sales team can take it from there. Invite them to one of our sales events, and then the sales team can take it from there. And speaking of our sales team is going to be reaching out to residents to ask you to partake and participate in some of their sales events. We heard loud and clear in our small group session, residents said, we are not invited. We've got, all of these events for people who've actually deposited money or people who are thinking about depositing, and we're not a part of that conversation. And you're right. People they only want to hear so much from a staff member. They want to know what's the experience for people who actually live here. So we have listened, and we are starting to recruit kind of our own speakers bureau. There'll be residents who are participating in the actual presentation. Some others will be invited to sit at tables at some of our luncheons and dinners and other events so that these prospective residents and depositors have a real, resident who lives here to talk to. And speaking of that, we are getting requests for when can we start to engage in the community. These folks, although their move-in date isn't until 2029, they're really itching to participate. And while we haven't even started those conversations, I talk with Deanna, Ann, and Ned about having the sales team come and talk to the coordinators of all the different program areas to plan together of when it makes sense to start to open up some of our activities, not all. We have some activities that don't have enough room for our current residents, but maybe some of our activities where maybe we need new leadership, or maybe, we don't have the attendance that we like, and to craft, some offering for these folks to get them engaged, because we know when they get started and the doors open in 2029, we need them chairing committees out the gate. So getting them involved early will make sense. But this is something that we are really asking resident council to message to us when there's comfort. This is not, these are your activities and your events. And so, we can only open it up if you say that it's okay. I want to let everybody know, as you may remember, Brian Levitt, who is our director of IT, he retired on September 6th. And so we are in the process of hiring a new IT director. We've had a couple of candidates who've, decided that, they were going to continue to look or stay in their current job. So we are still recruiting and, just trying to find the perfect person to help lead us into kind of the next iteration of Horizon House, where technology will be even more important. And we are specifically looking for someone with a project management kind of background. We've got a lot of things we want to do, and we want to make sure that we have someone who can help us balance a multitude of projects. We also are, you've heard me talk about our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. And this really comes from the residents. The residents, I heard them loud and clear when they talked about, we've been working hard on diversity for years, but we look around Horizon House and the diversity we see, that we can see, is not growing. And so early in the year, I think it was January, we actually kicked off an ad hoc committee. And this is just a subcommittee of the Community Relations and Diversity Committee. That's a joint board and resident committee. And that committee is specifically focused on increasing the number of residents who are people of color at Horizon House. And so we are having an event on Tuesday, October 1st, where we are welcoming about 40 people from the community into Horizon House to help us through conversation to talk about, how are we going to reach these communities that haven't really been a part of marketing efforts or invited into life plan communities. How do we connect with these communities? How can we authentically talk to them about what we have and make this type of experience accessible to communities who, for many reasons, just have been left out of the conversation? And so we're excited about that. So if you see an unfamiliar face that day, please say hello and make them feel welcome. These are not necessarily people themselves who will move into Horizon House, although they may be, but these are people who are influencers in the community. The ad hoc committee, as well as many of you, have given us names of people to invite, and so those invites are going out. We've sent out a save the date. And again, if they're personal friends that that you recommended, it's always helpful if you kind of give them a call to say, we really want to hear your voice. You will have opportunities. This is not the last event. So if there are people that, you think, I didn't know that you were looking for names, we'll have an event again, and you'll have an opportunity to share names and contact information. You can let Beth or I know anybody you think we should invite to future luncheons. I also want to talk about, one other, issue that is cropping up, and it often crops up, especially times like this during the election season. And, it's tense. We know it's tense. We don't feel it as much at Horizon House because, again, there are people who are, relatively moderate here, or, a big group of people who really do feel the same way. But we do have a small group of people who do not follow the majority. They are in the minority. And we really want to make sure that we are really embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion in its truest form, meaning that, we welcome people who do have different thoughts than us. They, may have different religious beliefs or different political beliefs. We want to make sure Horizon House is a place for all. And so we have to be cautious, in how we are talking in the community. We have to be cautious in terms of the things that we are advertising. So I want to make sure that everybody is aware. We know there's a lot of events going on. And, again, this is a place of freedom of speech in terms of or freedom of expression. We just want it to be respectful so that everybody feels included. So have your events, do the things that you enjoy doing with groups, but when you're messaging it, make sure that it does go to the communications committee so that, you know, they can vet what the language is on those advertisements. And, you know, when we're having events, you know, just kind of, let's take it through kind of a checkpoint. How would different groups receive it? Put yourself in other people's shoes. If, you know, something came out and it was, you know, with maybe a political figure or a religious group that you know, that you did not support, how would you feel? So just kind of do a litmus test before you advertise things as well, just so we make sure that we have a community where everybody feels good in. And again, you know, I know it's hard in a time period like this. It's not unique to Horizon House or Seattle or anywhere. I mean, it's tense in the country right now. You know, people feel that there is a lot at stake. So I just want us to kind of remember, and civility always, you know, it's who we are at Horizon House. And with that, I have one more thing, I'm sorry. I want to talk about one more thing. How many people had the opportunity to participate with the students from the Northwest School that came here last year? Okay, so we've had quite a few. Well, it's a new school year. So, you know, we want to continue the relationship. And while it might not look exactly like it did last year, that was a bit of a pilot time, we want to continue our intergenerational programming. It's important to us as an organization to introduce senior living to young people. You know, I will be honest, selfishly, I hope that they choose it for a career. So I want to be able to influence early on. You know, we want them to have interaction and engagement. Our residents have a lot to offer as mentors, as people who have done a lot of things that can benefit those students' lives, and a lot of those students are doing pretty neat things that we can all benefit from. So we are working with the Northwest Schools leadership right now to come up with some ideas. We certainly will work with Residents Council to see what that looks like. It could look like internship opportunities here. It could look like working together on projects around art and music, because that's pretty organic and kind of a common thread between both the school and Horizon House. I've even asked them, you know, they have gardens. We know one of the things that's going to be happening soon with us is we won't have gardens in 2027, 2028. Well, they have gardens that are like unattended in the summer. So, you know, looking for ways that we can connect that are mutually beneficial. So if you have any ideas, about what you would like to see from intergenerational programming, please let me know. If you'd like to be a part of a planning committee with the school, also just get in touch with me and I will make sure that you have a seat at that table so that that experience is rich for our resident community. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to,
Thank you. Thanks, Erica. I just wanted to tell Erica that we had our leaders had sent out notifications to all of our resource people had sent out notifications to all the leaders asking how they felt about including potential residents. And we've gotten a few replies, and they've been positive, but I would hope that the rest of you would please reply yes or no, however you feel. Tell us the truth, and then we'll get that information to Erica with the names of the committees who would like to participate, okay? Thanks, Erica. And next is Karen with the minutes. No, not you.
Hello. It's on? The minutes of the August 20th regular meeting of the Horizon House Residents Council were circulated. I did not receive any corrections, I don't believe, so the minutes will stand approved as read. Who am I introducing? Karen? Another Karen. Karen double timing.
Karen used to be such a nice name, and now it has other meanings. Anyway, I'd first like to add to the report about the dining room is compliments are very much appreciated, and that's how you get a repeat of what you really liked. So I encourage you in that when you make comments, do the compliments. And I just have to make another comment, and that program we had with the Northwest School was so fun from my point of view. I hope we can work something out. Anyway, here's our numbers from our up through August, right? And in many ways, they're absolutely meaningless because, you know, if you're a department store, you have seasons. You know you're going to have more revenue in December, or, you know, we go along and there's no season. It's all year round, and it's some months it's very big. We spend a lot of money, and some months we don't. So to that end, we just kind of wait. But what's going to happen now, we're at near the end of September, and in October we need to begin to think about budgeting for next year. And according to our program, our rules about how we operate, the budget committee is to meet in early November and bring the budget to the November planning meeting, which means that really you chairman of your committees will be needing to think about your budget for next year. And I urge you to work with your coordinator to do that. That's really important. So as far as our expenditures, they are what they are. So anyway, it's going along as we predicted. Let's put it that way. Okay, the next person is Elizabeth, who's going to talk about Monday Market.
So, many thanks to all of you who contribute to the Monday Market by donating, shopping, while you update or downsize your apartments in your moves from one part of the campus to the other, or as newcomers who find that some of the items we offer are more suitable to your new surroundings. And so here are the results of all of our efforts this month that underwrite much of the activity we all enjoy around here. So for the month of 4 weeks in August, the Monday Market income totaled $5,783. This was in a month in which many residents were away on vacation. And of that total, our Horizon House employees contributed $1,230. Thanks to all of you employees who remained here and continually support the market as well. There's no question, I'm sure, among all of us that the Monday Market is the first place to go to find surprising bargains on anything. Of course, the buck stops there, and it continues historically under the auspices of the Residents' Council to fund its programs and activities. For continuing success, we rely not just upon your generous donations and business, but also on the commitment of time by our market volunteers. If you would like to join a team for a truly rewarding experience in service to this entire community, we have openings for about 4 people right now, and we need and require a commitment
to work 1 to 2 hours each week, not per month, but each week. And our volunteers are dependable. They're people we can count on for that period of time every week. And it is a rewarding experience, I have to tell you, as a volunteer myself, to serve in this cause, and those who do claim to enjoy it. And many have been serving in this manner for many years. And just see me following this meeting if you wish to hear more and you would like to learn how to become a member of a Monday Market team. So, I'm sure you've seen notices about the annual closure of the market, and to give our volunteers a break, our door will be closed for business for the next 2 Mondays. And that means we will not be accepting donations in our bins, in person, by phone, and that's beginning this Friday and until October the 2nd. And we will reopen for business, I promise, on Monday, October 7. And we look forward to seeing all of you at the market again after the next 2 weeks for business on Monday, October the 7th. And that's when we will continue our progress under the auspices of the Residents' Council and for this community. So now you're going to hear from Sam Sperry.
Okay, Sam wanted to talk about the employee gift fund, and I don't know where he is. Oh, Risa's fanning herself. I thought she was signaling me. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, the employee gift fund drive is going to be starting very soon. You'll be getting something in your cubbies and asking for donations. Most of you who have been here for a long time know what it's about, but the newcomers may not. Every year we have a drive to collect money to give employees a Christmas gift, a cash Christmas gift, and to show our appreciation for what they do for us all year. We have amazing results from this. We have a lot of employees, but we have an extremely generous population here. The residents are incredible. And in the past, we've come close to getting $500,000 a year, which we distribute to employees, which means last year the full-time employees received around $2,500 each, and then it went down based on the number of hours they worked. I hope we can come close. I know we have fewer residents this year. I hope that doesn't impact us too much because I think we still have the same number of employees. But I ask you to all give generously when you get that request. And then we have a holiday party at the end of at the beginning of December, and we distribute the checks then, and the employees bring their families, and we have Bill Jones as Santa Claus, and we take pictures, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. And Sally has her hands up. Okay. You want to come up? Well, nobody can see her.
It's all good, all good. Having led this fund last year, a great big thank you to how generous each of you are for this fund. No amount is too small and no amount is too big. And it goes from October 1st. In your cubby, you'll get your request letter, and it goes to November 15th. So we have 6 weeks versus the philanthropy that has all year. So please be early, and I know you're generous, and we thank you ever, ever so much for making this. Oh, yes. And if you wish to have your gift tax deductible, you can have it directed directly from your IRA or retirement fund made out to the Residence Council Employee Gift Fund. Oh, yes, it's tax deductible no matter how you give it. But if you want to, if you're using an IRA account, they must make it direct to Residence Council Employee Gift Fund and mail it to the Residence Council. And again, thank you. October the 1st to November 15th. And who's next? Oh, Connie Hellyer. Thank you, Connie.
Afternoon. I think it's helpful to think of the Employee Recognition Fund as taking the place of tips. We get so much service through the year, and this is a way of being more equitable than if you were tipping at the table, because it goes to all of the employees behind the scenes. So, well, that's my way of adding up and realizing that it should be 3 or 4 figures anyway. So my topic today is Scrabble. I have a little bit of a speech problem, so if I need to slow down or repeat something, raise your hand. I'm co-chair with Ellen Leggett of the Scrabble group, and our group, with some turnover, has been meeting weekly for over 10 years, even on some holiday mornings. So why this longevity? And why Scrabble when there are so many other word games available and being created? 2 aspects, social and intellectual. Social. Scrabble is not solitaire. It's a game for 2 to 4 people. And granted, these days you can play it remotely on your device, but why not partake of some word talk and enjoy the company of other living, breathing partners? And intellectually, it's interesting because it's about more than forming words. It's strategic. The letters have different values depending on their difficulty of play. And then also there's the dimension of placement, because there are squares on the board that will multiply the value of the tiles. So altogether, Scrabble tickles and stretches your brain in more ways than most word games. But fear not, you don't have to be a Mensa member to play at Horizon House. Our house rules is that is not Horizon House. That's people say you're supposed to start every talk with a joke. That's my joke. Anyway, our house rules are kind and gentle. For instance, we allow do-overs, so there's no gotcha and you lose your turn. We allow you to correct and do your turn over, and no penalty at all. We have cheat sheets on hand, cheat sheets with all the 2-letter and 3-letter words and some other tips, and open books, so you can check in the dictionary, although we do discourage just fishing expeditions. Anyway, so it's small wonder that one regular player, a psychologist, called their style of play compassionate Scrabble. So you're welcome to drop in any Tuesday morning in the Me1 game room, and I might add, although I wasn't asked, that prospective residents would also be welcome to join us. One of our members even had their grandson coming over from Seattle U to play. And we really enjoyed having a bright 19-year-old join we little old ladies for a game of Scrabble, ladies and men. And we have 2 sittings at 10 and 11. You can come to either or both. No reservation needed. Tables accommodate between 2 and 4 people. So it's completely flexible. We welcome you to come along. And now, if you're curious to know more, Ellen Leggett will have a table after the meeting. And now I'm happy to introduce Ned Lang.
I'm not Laura Weese. Laura is not feeling well, and so I am a substitute today for the Election Forums Committee. And how do I put up our slide? There, thank you. The Election Forum Committee puts on programs in the election season. Every year there are some elections, and we try to bring candidates here personally, or we bring advocates for different programs, some in person, and we do some programs that are going to be video reproductions of some excellent program that other groups have prepared for either television or for internet screening. And here is our schedule for this year. Anderson Hall, 7:30. 23rd on the Transportation Levy and on the Climate Act. That will be, the latter part will be, but there'll be a video. Live candidates for the council and the state House of Representatives. It's important that we come and hear them. They know Horizon House has the largest voting percentage of any precinct in Seattle. That's because we come and listen, and they come because they know we vote. But let's show them our presence too, and we do give them a good interrogation by questions that have been prepared by our questions committee, and which you have been solicited to submit to the questions committee. So that will be a good event. And on October 7th, these will be programs that have been prepared by others with superb experts, and we'll have a presence here in Anderson Hall. So we look forward to seeing you at our election forums. I would also say that the Election Forums Committee can always use volunteers and workers. If anyone has any questions about the committee or about participating in it, I'm going to be out in the Fireside Lounge ready to answer any questions and sign up anybody who'd like to sign up. I see a hand eager to come up. Yes, what's your question? Oh, yes. Yes, we can obtain candidates' brochures. They're welcome when they come here to bring their brochures and have them in the hallway in the back. But it is not proper for candidates to go doorbelling or drop literature in the house. If you wish to put a candidate's literature in someone else's copy, you must identify yourself as the person who placed that brochure or what it might be. There is no general stuffing of cubbies of your favorite candidate's literature unless you personally sign each and every one and do it. I guess that's all I have to say now. I would make one word of caution. Talk to your tax advisability on contributions to the employees' gift fund. They are tax deductible if directly made from money you have already taken from your IRA, but they are not tax deductible if they go direct from the IRA. They're even better if they go direct from the IRA, because it does not count as your income. But it is not non-income and also deductible. You don't get to double dip. Not surprising. I'm going to turn this over now to an important person, our chairman of our art committee, John Pound. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you, Ned. And let me experiment with this for just a second to figure out, whoops, wrong way. Oh, the big one. Okay, thank you. There, that established. Now that we've lulled you into comfort with Connie's very succinct and even cartoon including presentation, here I am with a lot of words and a lot of slides to make you pay for that now. So, first point, the art committee, a very active committee, is open to all residents. I'm not going to read all these slides for you, so I'm going to depend on you to read them here because there's a lot on them, and there's a lot going on the art committee. But I will try and hit some of the emphasize some of the high points as we go along. So the first one to emphasize is we're open to all residents, and we welcome anyone who wants to do some of the work in setting up art-related activities and in caring for the multiple pieces of art that we have, a task that's going to be even more important as we plan for the future with the West Tower and new spaces. And then a second important point, the art committee and the art studio are not exactly the same thing. And if you are interested in practicing art on your own, in taking classes, in creating things, you need to talk really to Marianne Counts, who capably directs the art studio. Just to confuse things further, Marianne is also a member of the art committee. So you'll be able to talk to her about those things too, but the art studio is not part of the art committee. That's the point to make for right now. So the art committee itself has numerous activities going on and different sets of people who largely set their own rules for going about it for each one of them. You can see the list of 8 formal sections that we have. And also, in addition to that, at the bottom you'll see we have an executive board that acts as sort of a steering committee to coordinate those 8 sections and also to respond in general to policy questions and demands upon the art committee. Of the 8 listed there, I would say that number 6 is sort of our weak point at the moment. Because we've been swamped with many other things in the last couple of years, taking down and putting back up all the art in the central and east towers, a task that we tried to do in a way that fits our goal, which is to engage all the people living in those spaces at the same time that we accomplish the mundane task of putting things up and or taking things down and putting them up. I think we were fairly successful in that, but it was a very exhausting project for about 15 months. So we had to let a few other things go, and one of them is the docent tours, which we had tried to do in the past. We'll be returning to those. We have some plans and some good ideas and some new people wanting to be involved in that. So we hope for that to come back into full life. Now, the cataloging was not cataloging, but the curatorial tasks. That was the 15-month project that I mentioned, which took up a lot of our effort, and that also is where the tasks of preparing for the new West Tower and trying to get adequate art to fill that, and also to freshen up what we have in the rest of the campus took place. So on to the list of, whoops, I guess I should move on. Yeah. Since late 2022. I'll let you just look at all those numbers for yourself. And on the collections cabinet, and the new element of that, which is having some of the collectors speak every month, I will say that any of you who have tried to get through that area on the Sundays when we're trying to do that know how popular that has become and is becoming. We're aware of the need to find a new space for the collections cabinet sooner rather than later, we hope. But space is going to be at a premium in the whole campus that we have for the next 4 or 5 years. But we know that needs some work. So some of the continuing tasks that we have now, you can read those for yourself there, but I will emphasize donations because that's been a very active area lately. We have some, I think, just right across the building from us, the Spaffords there. And great thanks to Danny Carr for largely engineering the gift of those things to Horizon House. We have some other similar, very exciting things on the horizon. And I also want to give a thank you to Erica for her emphasis that's led to some of our donations about people talking to their friends and considering themselves what they might be able to give to add to the Horizon House collection. And now more to the point. Opportunities for you. I'd like you to read those dates. We've got another art show coming up. This is one that Marianne Counts of the Many Talents is going to be in charge of, in addition to being in charge of the art studio. So you can see the dates on there, and you will be hearing from Marianne and her team as the new year begins. Picture of the month, I'm sure you all know where that is on the way into the dining room. If you have any suggestions for that, you can talk to Susan Barish, who is taking over from Ellen Carlin, who is withdrawing from the committee for health reasons. If you have any suggestions, you can contact Susan. Her number is up there. Collections cabinet is another one that changes monthly. Anything interesting that you have, we would like to know about to see if we can arrange a display of it. And Judith Starbuck would be your contact for that. The studio and museum tours, Gloria Thiele would be your contact for that. I know many of you have probably participated in those. I hope so. And we have a whole list of those coming up for the next year. Gallery Talks, Danny Carr is your contact there. In fact, we'll be having a meeting of the Gallery Talks subgroup out in the Fireside Lounge later this afternoon. So I'm caring for art in the public spaces. That may be the place where we have the most opportunities for people to get involved, to help us with the task of moving things around, correcting or fixing things that fall. Sometimes I wonder, some weeks it seems like, there must be several parties going on in the hallways, and we didn't get invited, but we get to clean up afterwards. And planning for art acquisitions will be one of the tasks that we have ongoing for several years now. If you're interested, we'd like to find a place for you to participate in that. And then the art studio. Yeah, this is what I mentioned before, and we've emphasized with John's help several times. Marianne Counts is the person to talk to about that. And please take note of the holiday sale that will be coming up in just a couple of months. There's your date, November 14th and 15th. And please take advantage of that opportunity. And finally, I'd just like to thank all these people, and I'm remiss in not being able to list all the people who worked on that major project in the Central Tower and East Tower. But we had quite a team of people, so we could divide all the hallways up into teams of 2 and work closely with the residents on each one. And they know who they are, so I'd like to just thank them for that. And now we have a new procedure here, I think. And if any of you would like to talk about this anymore, or like to express your interest in the art committee, several of us will be out in the Fireside Lounge after this, and glad to talk to you about that. And we will add you to our list. We're going to be keeping our own lists from now on. Our list of people who have expressed interest in the committee, and we'll be contacting you when we think we can match you with a good opportunity. So I think that's my overview, and I thank you all for listening, and on behalf of the art committee, thank you. Okay. Oh, and now I have to introduce Ann Kelly.
Thank you, John. Now it's time for the burning question. And please be aware that I'll be out in the lounge to collect more of them as you think of them. This one was submitted in September. No, it was in August. And it's as follows. Why are the Uber charges on the HH monthly receipt listed in aggregate rather than listed by date? And the response that we received from Sandy Scher is this. This month, August, is the first month reception services have implemented a daily entry system, and they enter in the taxi reimbursements. So now that they have the proper amount of staffing, we are hoping to continue this process. So if you look at your most recent receipt, HH receipt, you will see your Uber charges listed individually. Thank you. And next we'll have Deanna back.
Okay, before I wrap this up, I want to mention one more thing about security. When it's raining out, I often walk the hallways in the Central and the East Tower for exercise. And the last time I did that, it had been a while because it's been summer, so I did that a couple of weeks ago. And I was very surprised to see that on almost every single floor, several doors were propped open. Now, we have a lot of people wandering around these buildings, and a lot of them don't have any ID on. We don't know who they are. For some reason, the contractors refuse to sign in, some of them, or wear IDs. So there are people wandering all over. We don't know who's here. We know we've had security breaches. So I would just like to remind you to please don't keep your doors open. Close your doors. It's really not necessary. If you need air, open your windows. Let's not have robberies or whatever, because it's frustrating. I ran into a woman a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday morning, and she was in the elevator looking for the store. And I said, "Oh, are you, it's not open on Saturday, but are you a visitor? You don't have a tag on?" She said, "No, I live here." And I said, "Oh, where do you live?" She said, "I don't remember." And she said, "But how do I get out of here now? I want to go up to where the front door is and the elevators are." So I have no idea who she was, where she came from. I'd never seen her before, but she got in the building and she was wandering around. So that's not atypical. So please, be secure. So after the meeting, there will be people, Doris, Dining Services, Anne, Burning Questions, and John, and let's see, who else was good? Ned, with a table out there to talk about their committees. So please go and talk to them. And now, do you have any questions before we wrap this up? Great. Okay. Bye, everybody. Question?
Just a point of clarification. I had always assumed that Steve was a part of Morrison,
Yes.
but is he a Horizon House employee? I didn't quite.
No, all of the dining service employees are Morrison employees, but for purposes of the gift fund, we consider them Horizon House employees because they're full-time employees here. What Morrison does is pay their salary and do the tax, filings for them and hire when we need dining services employees because they have that expertise. It would overwhelm our accounting department. There's constant turnover there, and so they are technically Morrison employees, but we consider them ours because we reimburse Morrison for what they pay the employees. We have a contract with them. We pay them a fee for their services, and we also reimburse them for the payroll. So we're paying them through Morrison. Okay? Anybody else? All right. Thank you.